Hi, I'm Kathy and I'm part of the Mesh Mesh family, and we have been thinking about all of you that are staying home, and we're so glad you are taking care of lots of kids. And we wanted to do something for you, so we've created a way that you and your kids can color your own fabric, removable fabric decals. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about the way they will arrive to you. So they come in a tube like this, special delivery. And you pop open the top and you take out your exciting surprise. And there's even a little surprise within the surprise. When you open it up, you will find this group of, we're starting off with butterflies because they are a wonderful symbol of hope. And so you'll start with this. And I'm going to show you a little bit, some little tricks, but one of the things you can do is you can either color it with Crayola markers, or you can do something that I kind of especially love to do, which is to use Crayola watercolor pencils, which makes it an even longer activity. So I'm going to show you some tips about how to do that. So we designed our colorable wall decals to work with all of the Crayola products because they're safe and non-toxic and kid-friendly. So you can use Crayola markers, which you can get just about anywhere, or you may already have in your home. You can use watercolor pencils, which I'm going to demonstrate a little bit later, and you can also get those almost anywhere. And also you can use Crayola watercolors. And if you can't get out, which you might not be able to, you can also add it to your order, and we pack it so that it can fit into our tube. And also if you're giving it as a gift, you might want to include it with your order. So let's get started. So for this project, you'll just need, it's a very simple list. You'll just need watercolor pencils, which you may already have, or if you added them to your order, we'll also include a brush. You'll need a brush, and then just some clear water. You might use a little dish just from your cabinet, some Kleenex, a pencil sharpener, and your fun coloring sheet. You don't have to do this, but I find it a little bit easier because you can turn each one individually. I like to just cut out a little grouping like this, and then that way it's easier for your child or for you to turn. Do not take this off the backing. Leave it on its backing. First of all, you can't go wrong. You can color these any colors that you want, but I thought I would try something fun today. And I don't know if you have seen this wonderful hashtag that is being shared across Europe called Let's All Be Well, and everyone is sharing rainbows on their windows. And so I thought, you know what, let's make the butterflies Roy G. Biv, which is 7 colors, and we'll just start with R with red. So I'm going to make this butterfly in mostly reds. The way the pencils work is you just color away, and one of the things that I loved doing one time with some adorable girls that came by to color is I had them do the pencil work first without even telling them about the magic that would happen with the water. And so that adds another little bit of magic. But if you would like to tell them, to show them the way it's going to end up, that's okay too. So what I'm doing is I'm just really almost, you can do it really carefully, or you can do what we call scribble scrabble in our house. And you just color all of the shapes just like you normally would. I'm going to make this one mostly red, but I'm going to put accents of colors that are sort of on either side of red. I'm going to put a little bit of orange and a little bit of pink. Also, you can be a little bit darker in some areas just by really scribbling it hard, and that's just going to make it be really brilliant at that part. And then you can also kind of come lighter as you drag it across. So you can see I'm very dark there, and then I'm putting my pencil down a little bit more softly as I get. And see, I'm not even really worrying about the kind of scribbly nature of the pencil at this point. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this on fast time so that you don't have to wait for me. But I hope you enjoy this stage with your kids, or can go get something done while they're enjoying this stage. And I'll be right back. I thought maybe I would put on a little bit of my favorite music. This is a great time for you to put on those great Disney tunes, or I like to have a little bit of Al Green in the background. So this is the time to just sit back and relax and enjoy the fun. One thing that's really great about the pencils is that you can rest your hand on it and you don't have to worry about it moving it. That will not be the case when we start using the paint in the water, the paintbrushes in the water. One of the things I like to do is this will be a kind of a dark pink, and then I'm going to leave that and just sort of drag it over and it'll be light pink. You'll see what I mean when we get to that fun stage. And put a little bit more red over here. And I think I'll do some orange ruffles here on the edge. You can turn it if you want. You might want to do a little bit of the fabric of these decals has a little bit of texture, and so sometimes it really uses up a lot of the pencil as it rubs against the texture, and so that's why it's good to have a little pencil sharpener on hand. For the inside of our butterfly, I think I'm going to use I'm going to use a little accent of green. I think I'm going to go ahead and make these green actually, just so we have a little touch. Now we're going to get our brush, and this is the super magical part. So we're going to have a little cup of water. Let me see if you can see that. Maybe I'll put it right there. And I like to keep this little dish in case I want to kind of dab it. And then I always keep a little piece of Kleenex in my hand. And so here goes the magic. You just take your brush in the clear water, and you don't have to do this, but it's better if you paint sections that don't touch each other if you don't want them to blend. But it's okay if you want them to blend. You can just start painting every single section. But I'm going to kind of do the pieces that are not touching to start off, so you can sort of see how that works. So there's the magic. I love this part so much. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do it kind of lightly and let the Scribble Scrabble pencil marks show, which has a really active and fun look to it. You can also, so that's kind of what you see there, and then on the other side I'm going to do it another way. You can also start, I'm just kind of also doing two things. I'm starting on the lighter side. I'm going to wipe off some of my water a little bit so that it's not quite as heavy. That's another thing you can do, or you can leave it full of water. Now on this side, I'm going to make the scribbles disappear, which is another thing you can do if you want to have a more solid watercolor look. And all it requires is just rubbing over it. It kind of lifts it off of the fabric and just becomes watercolor. And you can also make it lighter by just taking it off a little bit with your brush, like this. And you can also take your Kleenex and you can dab it and really take it off if you want to make it a lot lighter. So that's another little trick. So you notice I skipped the orange. If I can go ahead and do it, but it'll start to run into that part, which actually can be beautiful, but I'm going to show you this way this time. There we go. And you don't have to be perfectly in the lines. Did you see how I went over that a little bit right there? I like that. I like to leave that because when they blend together, it will have a really pretty look, kind of like an off-register printing job. Now I'm going to be showing a lot of these super speeded. I'm going to show a lot of these in super fast speed. But the fun part of this project actually is to just enjoy it slowly. It's so relaxing. And the end result is so satisfying. I'm going to show you some other things you can do. You can also take your pencil while the fabric is wet, and you can do your own shapes. So I'm going to add some dots to this one. It kind of works like a little bit more water, deep watercolor. And they'll kind of spread and look really pretty. You can also add stripes. I think I'll put some stripes here. And then I'll put them over here. Go out with a pencil. And you can do that kind of thing, I think. Okay. You might have gone to get a snack, or you may have worked on another butterfly, but now I've come back to our first butterfly, and I'm going to color in some of these other shapes that are in between. I haven't let it dry completely because I was just so excited. But so if it bleeds into the next section, that's okay. It just adds some fun. It's always important to see the hand of the artist. So if you can see brush strokes, pooling, pencil strokes, that just adds to not machineness of it. And these dry pretty close to the colors that they are wet. They'll be a little bit lighter, but not a lot. You notice that I'm often dabbing my brush. That just makes it where it doesn't have quite so much water. This is where things can get a little bit muddy. When you have complementary colors like this, a cool color and a warm color, if I let those touch, they might get a little bit muddy, but again, it's not the end of the world. And sometimes it can be really quite pretty, but sometimes it gets a little bit brown. You can kind of see right there where all the colors are coming together. But you can also take a tissue. I sort of love that, so I'm not going to change it. I love the way that orange is moving in there. But if I wanted to change it, I could dab it with this Kleenex. Another thing you can do is you can sort of use it as a palette. So I'm going to get some of this orange right here, and I'm just going to dab it on these. A little bit more. And here's a little stripe of orange. And there we go. So that side is ready. And now I'm going to take this, and when I touch the wet, it's going to become sort of watercolory. And I'm going to give him some fun green stripes on his belly. And because it's wet, they'll kind of spread a little bit, which looks pretty wonderful. And you can even, if you want to, you can go back and maybe take some off along the sides, like that. There you go. So the only little part that we need to dab, and I'm just going to do it so we can let this one dry. And these little stripes. Okay, so we're going to let this dry, and I'm going to work on another butterfly while this one dries, and then we'll keep going so that we can put our wonderful installation on the wall. So because I'm going to make this group of butterflies feel like a rainbow of butterflies, I'm going to be making this butterfly mostly orange with some accents that are the colors that are on either side of orange, red and yellow, and maybe even a little touch of turquoise as a really small pop of color. So I want the bulk of it to be orange, so I'm going to start here. And I'm going to probably go ahead and put this on Speedy color so that you can see how the orange one turns out, and then we'll move on. Now I kind of wanted these to look a little bit more checkerboardy, so I am basically kind of taking away some paint by just rubbing over it and then dabbing it on my Kleenex. Like that. And while these yellow flowers are wet, I'm going to take this orange pencil, and when it touches the wet, it turns into a little bit of watercolor itself. I'm just going to put some little centers, and they'll kind of blend out a little bit as well as they dry. There you go. One thing that I think might be fun with this butterfly, I'm going to kind of make this part a little bit drier. It's pretty dry. And I'm just going to sort of dip I think I'm going to dip the red brush. And I'm going to make some stripes like this. Yeah. Just for a little bit of detail. There you go. That's our orange butterfly ready to go. You can also add some little scribble scrabbles anytime you want to, just wherever you want to. Like maybe I'll put some right here, put some right here, put some right here, put some right here, and here. Get a little bit more separation between those sections. There you go. And our orange butterfly is ready for the window, or the wall, or the mirror. There we go. There is the yellow butterfly. Okay, do this side. When I start on the lighter side, I can drag it down into the dark and it stays lighter up at the top. This side I started on the darker side, but I think this is better. So you might want to start on the lighter side of your wings. If you did that, if you made it go from light to dark. Or like some little dots. I can look at some little dots all around here. Just for a little extra decor and pattern. And you can even do the same thing with a line. that. And now I'm going to show you some things that you may notice after your butterflies and flowers have dried that I think are beautiful, but I just wanted you to know that they might happen. So you can see the way this watercolor has kind of faded from light to dark. Love that. I love the way the green here kind of blended with the blue next to it. You've got some wonderful watercolor pooling happening and some kind of blending happening here. Love it. Those are the things that really make your butterflies unique and have your hand. Here's some places where we let the pencil line quality show, and here's some parts where it didn't show as much. Love that. And here's some more examples. That was our little testing thing, but you can see here where some of the colors have blended into other areas, and those all add to the beauty of your unique and individual butterflies. Good work. So this is just a reminder to make sure that your watercolor pencil pieces are completely dry. This one is not completely dry, and I'm going to show you why you want to make sure it's completely dry. I'm going to peel it off. I'm going to pop it on the wall, no problem, until you take a hand and smooth it, and then you could get a little watercolor on your wall. And so that's the reason you just want to make sure that it's completely dry. But once it's dry, no problem, you can move them over and over and over. And I think that if it does by any chance get on your wall, that you can just wipe it away. But we might as well avoid it. So there you go. And now comes the magic. We're going to take our butterflies and we're going to put them on the wall. And this week, to celebrate the hopeful movement that's happening all over the world, hashtag Let's All Be Well, we're going to take our rainbow colored butterflies and place them on the wall or the window. So let's start with that. The first thing you want to do is to wipe off any kind of dust that you have on your wall, the whole wall, anywhere that you're going to be putting the decals. That's just because if dust gets on the back of them, it's going to make them not be able to be moved as many times. So as soon as you do that, make sure your wall is dry, you can start placing your decals. So we're going to start with, I'm going to start with the red one. You don't need to use tape at all to place it. Some people like to do that to decide where they want it, but because they're movable, I'm just going to not use tape. So they peel off of the backing very easily. If you'd like to save your backing, you can put them back on for later. And I'm going to make kind of a big arch. So I'm just going to start right here, and I'm just going to kind of tap them a little bit to get them put in place. And I'm going to probably move them a little bit after I do this. So I'm just going to sort of let them float into the sky in their rainbow order. It's fun to see the work that we did earlier all of a sudden come to life on the wall. We have a turquoisey blue one. Darker blue one. And then we're going to end, the end of our rainbow is going to be the purple one. And then we'll take the flowers that we created earlier, and again, in the same kind of rainbow order, just sort of toss the flowers amongst the butterflies. Hopeful and happy. Actually, this one here. This one. really smoothing them down right now because I'm sort of just placing them. Oh. And then my favorite, the hydrangea. And we're going to have a turquoise. A little bit of blue. And purple. And at this point, if you want to change them around a little bit, you just pull it up, change it the way you want to, and then when you think, that's exactly the way I want it, then you can just softly flatten all of your pieces out. Let's all be well.